So before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional custodians of the land and elders past and present. And now we are going to launch into self-care tips for all of us diverse people. My name is Emilie. I'm a director at Burn and Glass Creative. We do game design, narrative, and production support for game developers. And I wanted to assemble a wonderful group of people to talk about self-care for diverse peeps, because as part of my career, there were things that I expected as a woman in game, and there are also a lot of things that I didn't expect, and that caused me to develop really self-defeating behaviors that made it harder for me to stay in the industry and made me doubt that I should. And I thought it would be great to draw on the experience of all of these wonderful people so that you have a great tool set to tackle these situations, take care of yourselves, and keep making wonderful art for everyone to enjoy. So with that in mind, I will let the panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Tanya DePass. If you saw I Need First Games Anywhere on Twitter, that was me being angry about video games at 6 in the morning a couple years ago. And no, literally, that's why I started it. And then from there, I became a community, and now we're actually a nonprofit in the United States, which helps people get to GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference, and to other things. Wren is one of my scholars for this year. So I talk a lot about video games. I get to write in places like Polygon, Waypoint, etc. And I get to come to conventions like this and still yell about video games.
Yay!
Awesome. I am McNally. I'm an independent and freelance writer, game designer, maker of things which are queer, and yeller about things which are not good enough. So.
Great. My name is Dameyon, Bonson, town of Blackberry Road. Consulting BTI is also a prevention organisation. I don't game because my space online is mostly social media. I live professional McNally. And this is stuff I'll share with yourself. Hopefully will be of use because I get it again.
My name is Brier. I'm a game developer. I make art for mobile games,
So some of the things that we were discussing before pushing the panel is how knowledge that there is bias and there are problems with being a diverse person in the games industry can alter our behavior and also the way we interact with the world, cause us to doubt ourselves and doubt the feedback that we're receiving. And everyone had interesting experiences with that, so I'd like to start with a bit of a share of situations you've encountered that you didn't expect where, you had to react to that sort of pressure.
Oh, you're staring at me, I'll start.
Or anyone, if you want to pick it up.
Just we'll go down the line. So for me, becoming more known and visible has created almost a paranoia about Twitter and social media and when I get questions. Because sometimes it's well-meaning, sometimes it's not, and you have to figure out kind of where the line is. Is someone being genuine? Are they asking a question that they really don't know, or are they being a malicious asshole? I will swear a lot. If this offends you, I'm sorry. But it's put me on my guard a lot more. I was that Twitter person that forgot my password. I would have to reset it every year when I go to one con I go to a couple years ago. And now, sometimes seeing that little indicator that I've got a DM or a message on Tumblr especially will make me incredibly anxious because I don't know where it's from, because anyone who's on Tumblr knows there's no way to keep someone from sending you a message unless you keep making your Tumblr more or less private. So it's put me on my guard a lot, and it's made me, not always the nicest person when I respond to people if they're the unlucky person. Because asked me the same question I've just gotten 50 times in a row, and they're 51.
Yeah.
There's definitely something to be said about the fact that, especially when you're talking about games, it's a very public industry. People are very interested in the lives of people that make games, a lot more than you'll find in other industries, and they'll have a lot more opinions about who you are as a person, and the choices that you make, the things that you say. It's also sort of, when you fall under sort of different axes of oppression, you're fall into different minority groups that maybe don't have the same public forum, there is a constant balancing act that you need to do between, like, it is in my best interest and the best interest of people like me for me to put in the effort to try and help people understand and try and help people to be less douchey. Because people, a lot of the time when people are douchey, it's not because they want to be an asshole so much as they've just never been exposed to the ideas that are so central to your own identity. And you'll notice that especially, like, issues of race I obviously can't speak to with any level of authority, but issues of gender and sexuality, a lot of the time people they've just never been exposed to ideas that aren't what they see on TV. And so you want to be like, hey, you're actually being an arse, you might not even realize it, I want to help you, but also, good God, this is exhausting, and I shouldn't have to, like, give you a definition or 20 definitions for my identity just to be treated with respect. And so there's a constant juggling of, like, the resources you have to be like, I want to help. I also just want you to fuck off and maybe do your own research. And everyone's got their own levels on that. Finding your own balance can be tricky, and it will vary day to day. But when you're thrust into a somewhat public space, a lot of the time people won't give you that choice. They'll just be like, hey, you're a name that I know, and you're a queer person or a person of color or whatever else. Answer my questions. And sometimes they want answers, sometimes they want the answer they're looking for, sometimes they just want to harass you. So,
yeah. To jump on that a little bit, because there's a lot of common grounds between what you talked about. So, where do you draw the line between this is a person that is worth my time, and this person is definitely an asshole, and I've given all that I should?
If the words "well" actually are in the reply. Or a lot of times I'll get, I'm just asking a question, I want to have an honest debate. And I'm like, no.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
yeah.
No.
A lot of the time, a deciding factor for me is often whether it's public or private. Like if someone's mentioned me as opposed to messaged me, and that. If someone comes to me in private and they're like, hey, I want you to explain a thing to me, I usually don't have the time or the energy to be like, here is an essay's worth of explanation, but I can provide you with some links for like 1,000 blog posts that I wrote years ago. If it's public, I'm actually more likely to sort of engage in a public way, just to be like, hey, I'm going to respond to these questions, and hopefully other people can also see this. So even if this one person isn't engaging in good faith, or they're kind of a dick, or they're just being obtuse, other people still get to witness the conversation and maybe take something from it. And that's a thing I can do because I have the mental resources to do that. Sometimes. Sometimes I just can't, and then I'm just like, oh no, airplane mode. I guess I won't know if someone tweets at me. That's a shame.
Oh, darn.
Awesome. And when you have these hard conversations, because you were talking about sometimes it's that 51st person who tweets the same question, who maybe has good intentions, but you're just sick of it. Do you then take a break, or how do you replenish your energy to prepare for that conversation?
It'll depend, because sometimes I can, like, I'll just literally get away from Twitter, or I'll mute conversations, because the mute conversation function on Twitter is the best thing ever.
No, it's block.
We can talk about blocking. Sometimes I just let it go, or I try to come back to it, because when we were talking about prepping for the panel, I realize if I'm getting irrationally angry at what seems to be like a very genuine question or an innocuous question, then people have gotten my last nerve. And, most of the time, not always, I try to give someone the benefit of the doubt. But again, if those key phrases like devil's advocate or, well, actually are in their question, then I usually just kind of ignore them and block them and go on, because it's not worth the mental energy. to give them. Or, I'll come back to it, it's like, you know what, I can't talk about this right now. Maybe give me another way of messaging that's not Twitter, because anyone who's been on Twitter, if it's a public conversation, every rando in the world will find you when you're trying to have what should be a one-on-one, 1-to-3 conversation. Or I just tell people, let's take this to private message because I don't have the emotional energy for randos today.
Jumping a little bit to other life experiences, Wren had a really good story that I related to more from the career perspective. So my personal story is going into the games industry knowing I'm a woman in games and that there's some form of bias. As a junior designer, I wanted to do the best job possible, but then every time I got a piece of feedback, I would obsess over it, wondering, is this because I'm a woman or is this because I'm a shit designer? And Wren, you had different but experiences in the same vein.
Yeah, I think I eventually got to that point where you were, but I started off with I heard a lot of bad things about what the games industry is like towards women and what gamers are like towards women. And I find maybe in general, gamers, as opposed to game developers, tend to be more overt in their sexism. And that's kind of what I was expecting the games industry to be like. I was expecting, people to, I guess, I was expecting the sexism in their face to be a lot more obvious. And when it wasn't, I was like, oh, I guess everything's great then. I guess it's not like that in this company. That's so awesome. I'm happy. Until, little things started piling up. I noticed that I was being treated a little differently. I was new on my team. And when I asked questions, I kind of got shut down. Oh, you're being annoying and asking all these questions to stop. And I would suggest an idea, and my team would be a bit about it, it didn't seem super receptive. And a couple of years later, someone new joined the team with the same level of experience that I had when I joined the team, and this time it was a guy. And he would ask questions, and nobody would flinch, nobody would say anything bad, it would just get answered. And he would suggest ideas that I thought were kind of not great, and they would get answered and acknowledged as if they were really great suggestions, or reasonable enough to acknowledge. Just this skepticism that was applied to me was not applied to him. And it took me a really long time to realize that. That wasn't the only thing. There was a lot of little things like this and bullying and things that for the longest time, I get warned about, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't, oh, you were a bit late, too many times. It's a very, very tiny, 2 minutes late, and other people would come on the same bus as me, but nobody else would get warned about this. Those sorts of things. It's just sort of suddenly with me, the rules were followed a lot more strictly, and so it seems legitimate. It seems, well, there are the rules, but other people, they don't apply to them in the same way. Same thing happens with promotions, where I asked for promotion, and I was told, no, you don't qualify exactly. You qualify for a bunch of the criteria, but not all of them. And yet, a friend of mine, who, is great and totally deserves his promotion, he got a promotion without asking for it, without qualifying for all these things either. And somehow that was okay. And I tried to bring that up with, with the company, and they were like, well, that's different because, and they just, kind of stammered through something, and it's like, no, it's not different. I was just being treated differently for no reason, or because of men.
Yeah, and going through that, this kind of the same thing as social media, it makes you paranoid at some point.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I was like, oh, well, I'm fucking up. I shouldn't have been late here. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have, I asked for this promotion too early. Maybe I shouldn't ask so many questions. Maybe my ideas are not so great. And it took basically leaving that workplace to and finding a group of people who went through similar experiences who were very supportive to regain my confidence and realize that, oh, it's not just that I'm a fuck up, it's that, I was being singled out.
And it's hard to make that distinction because, like, personally, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to be humble because I want to learn and all of that. So you're like, I want to take this on board, but should I? And is it sane for me to take it on board? And I was wondering if any of you have, methods or tips as to where you draw that line of things that do apply and things that, no, now I'm letting go of this because that's just ridiculous.
Well, like a lot of the time, my work is largely freelance work, although it hasn't always been. And a lot of the time I'll find if I get feedback and I'm not sure where it's coming from, whether it's does my work need to be, does my work need to be better? Is their complaint a legitimate one? Or are they pushing back against me because of some perception about me? Especially because with all of my work, I tend to push a fairly, let's call it a queer agenda. That's not, I mean, I write a lot of romance stuff, and I'm often commissioned to write a lot of just sort of general cishet romance, which is the least interesting thing in the world to me, but it pays the bills. But even when I'm writing that, I try to at the very least push back against ideals of just heteronormativity and sort of a lot of the toxic stuff that comes into more Hollywood mainstream monogamous romance. There's a lot of toxic ideas that I try to push back, even in the space of look, I don't dislike heterosexual people, so I should do right by. Look, I've heard they exist. So I have a bit of an agenda when I write, and as far as I'm concerned, it's entirely positive and it's good for everyone. But sometimes people have ideas about oh, I just had this really clear picture of this thing I wanted to do in my head, now that you've just written a really horrible, toxic scenario, you're perpetuating a lot of garbage, and I want to push back on that. And it's hard sometimes to be in that position and be is my pushing back a valid thing for me to be arguing for, especially when these people are the ones paying me? Do I do what they want? Do I stick to my ideals? A lot of the time that's hard, and there's not necessarily a great avenue for dealing with that. So I will go to my private Twitter account and I'll rant there, or I'll complain to friends and partners and family and just be is this some bullshit, or do I maybe need to pull back a bit? And my family are actually great for that, because obviously my friends and my partners are going to be well, no, you fucking, of course you're right. We are your friends and partners because we think like you do. My family are they don't get a lot of stuff. So when I'm here is some bullshit and here is my justification for it, if I can convince my family that I'm in the right, then I feel like I'm definitely in the right. If my family are I'm just not getting it, I'm if I can't get you to get it, then this is probably not a fight worth having. So it's not the best strategy, but at least it's a guide.
But I think there's value in having people of diverging points of view that you can safely discuss these things with. Yeah. Because you're right, if you're talking to friends who think exactly like you do, they're an echo chamber.
Exactly.
Of course they're going to think you're doing the right thing, and it's not helping me with my mental barometer of am I doing the right thing or not. Mm-hmm. So having people that you trust and have a respectful relationship with, but have slightly different points of view can be helpful for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to put that shit on Twitter, apart from the fact that it's very unprofessional to complain about contracts, especially whilst you're in the middle of it. I also just don't want a bunch of fucking MRAs being oh, this is some great shit. I'm look, I don't want an echo chamber, but I also don't want your ignorant ass all up in my mentions, so just fuck off. So yeah, it's important to cultivate people with different perspectives that you're still friendly with, especially because there is a difference between, like, I have different opinions on, like, certain values and ideologies, and I think that people that are different to me are garbage and deserve to die. There is a line there.
Yeah.
That's a,
That's okay, you know what, that's not a line, that is a chasm.
Sorry.
oh no, I talked enough.
No, I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry, Wren. For me, I try to have I have a very tight-knit group of, usually people I can go to, they're not going to bullshit me. Because I love my friends, and a lot of them are great, but there are some people where I can go, okay, this is what happened. Am I losing my mind? Actually, I had a situation the other week where I was not particularly kind to someone who was, I just felt like she was basically trying to get to this point without doing all the work. And my commentary back to her in a group chat was not the kindest. But it was also kind of like you were giving bad advice based on bad advice given to you. And then someone else came to me like, why are you being an asshole, basically? And I was like, I didn't think I was being an asshole. They're like, no, you were really punching down on someone who's just trying to kind of do the work themselves, and they're thinking I wasn't seeing, because I'm not in that other group clique that they have.
Yeah.
And so it was like, they felt safe enough to come and talk to me. And so having those people that, if they're your friend, great. But having the person I can go, am I losing my mind? Is this bullshit? Am I the one being an asshole? And if they go, yes, actually you were. Because then they were like, yeah, this showing me the conversation, yeah, you were an asshole.
Yeah.
So,
being able to look at what you did objectively
yeah.
and give you the true, true.
But also being able to step away when you know you're being very emotional about it. Because that's something that I struggle with, because when I'm angry, I'm not the most rational person, like most of us. So kind of realizing, okay, I'm irrationally angry, or I'm unwilling to listen, and everything this person says, I have mastered which one you're for. Then this conversation is stopped for now and we'll come back to it.
Yeah, and I get highly passionate about something, or highly when I'm angry about something, I might want to do something drastic, not, I don't know if it's irrational, but it's definitely a bit irrational to do it without going away and thinking about it. So whenever I find myself about to do something big, some kind of big decision, I have to step away, I have to take a break. And sometimes I need a friend to tell me to do that, because sometimes I don't realize. I talk to people a lot. I mean, I am fairly extroverted, so that is something that works for me. But especially when I'm making big choices, like when I decided to quit a job, I was really, I was like, am I doing the right thing? I didn't know. And I basically told everyone I trusted in the world. And when I got back the answer, overall, yeah, you should do this, then I thought about it some more, and I was like, yeah, I think this is what my heart is telling me, but I should do this. And it just really, I'm the sort of person who gets stuck in my own head a lot with anxieties and stuff, and so often I need to just get things out of my head on paper or in speech, just talk to someone else, and make sure that I am being reasonable, that I'm not just listening to my anxiety here, that this is the right thing to do. So just talking to people, having people you can trust.
And being able to recognize when you fall into that mode as well. We were talking about earlier, for me, I'm someone who can take a lot of stress before anxiety kicks in, so that makes me blind to when anxiety kicks in. But I learned to realize that if I have a hard time falling asleep because I'm rehashing a conversation I had during the day, that happens more than 2 days in a row, I need to stop and do something about something, for sure. For me, that's a sure hint that something is wrong, and I'm way deeper into stress and anxiety than I thought I was. And I've learned to recognize things like that, and I'm wondering if you also have behaviors or patterns that you've learned to recognize, and what you do to pull yourself out of them.
I might speak.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That was been wonderful hearing what everybody's saying. Some of them pick up, and it's probably the same thing that I did with Black Rainbow, is that there weren't these safe spaces so we could be able to look for ourselves. what I've found that in my life that I've actually done that quite a few times is that provide safe spaces to protect us from some of the shit that happens out in the world. And one of the great things around having these online communities, Facebook and what have you, you can have those conversations in those safe spaces as well. So I also have friends in real life, there's about 5 of us, and I find that for myself, we all struggle with mental issues at different times of our lives, and sometimes we don't hear from each other for a while, but every now and again we'll just send a message or a gift or whatever, and just to let them know that you're not good. A couple of years ago, a good friend of mine, Jay Lane, who's a brother boy, which is an Aboriginal transgender man, he started, when Robert Williams died by suicide, he set up a Facebook group called Trans People with Depression, and feel very privileged to be part of that, to join that group so you can get it out. And I talk about this a lot with a lot of people in mental health, is that we have a lot of these online communities that exist really, really safely, and people can be who they are. And I create those spaces in my real life. Sometimes that's just me. I'm an introvert as well, so I don't like but also around the circle of friends that you've got as well, you'll know who you need to be around. And just to re-energize ourselves when we're feeling a bit down. I think people don't know that, and I'll share this with you, is that there's some mornings that I would say, come on David, get up. And I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and then, right, that's all I need, then I'm up, and go about my day. My anxiety comes a lot from or getting triggered, and I've learned to deal with it is if you set up your own organisation or space, people come out there. And learning to deal with that, and again, it's thinking of those same spaces. And my psychologist, one of the tips that she gave me is that name 10 people who you admire in your life and you trust, and to think about those 10 people when you're at those times of self-doubt. Because of the particular work that I'm doing around Indigenous LGBTI people, we're not a representation, they're representative of everybody. We're not here to be anybody. And so sometimes we get seen as being all told that we're the experts. No, we're just one active group in the space. There's other people out there as well. But some people didn't see that. You think that you know everything, that you're the front page of all this kind of stuff. So that can wear you down as well. But it is around creating those safe spaces and those safe relationships with people. A great book that I read this year, and I'm on the lived experience group, the Digital Mental Health Gateway, that the Commonwealth Government has commissioned. We're working on it at the moment, part of a co-design group. It's led by the Mental Health Commissioner for Lived Experience, her name is Jackie Corin. Absolute star of the woman. I think she should win Australian of the Year 8 times in a row. The way that she advocates for people with mental health issue at the big table, which I was fortunate to start joining last Friday. I've never seen someone who is just so on it, and with the 4 to 5 million Australians that have experienced mental health issue at any one time, she's got their back in conversations. But there's about 25 of us part of the co-design process that we have put together to design this, it's called Health, so that's what it's called, the gateway. And we got some new facilitators into the co-design, which had like those introductory kind of spiel things, and it was somewhat just had a book. And one of the ladies that was with us, she runs an online blog called Smile Chicken. And her book that she read is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. 5 of us went and bought that book as we left Melbourne at the airport. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. It gets you to really think of your own values and sense your thoughts around what's important to you. And I found through reading that book, I live in Brier, so I was flying from Melbourne to Perth to Brier, and I finished it by the time I got home. It really changed my life in what noise to listen to and what noise to ignore, which can be challenging, but again, each day, each week, each month, I learn something new, and I read quite a few of these books. I immerse myself in suicidology as well. But what I find that at the moment, I mean, I'll be on Twitter, I'm actually fighting with the CEO of Lifeline. They've got an event in Sydney next week, and it's a National Suicide Prevention Summit. and supposed to hold community, yet not invited. I'm thinking, is that because I didn't accept his friend request on Facebook? That's bad. But so I've got to deal with that, and I choose to do it publicly in a way so that people can see, well, this is the cracks that are actually in our mental system as well. But I have got, I guess, I back myself to doing it for a while now, and some people can't do that. And I think that I have an opportunity, I have a profile now, work I've done, so I put myself in that position. And I'd be really comfortable saying to do so, because I was working myself. Because you can't speak out publicly because of the ramifications of what that may work. But one of the things, again, just to the question you, is finding those safe spaces and go by that book. It's really good. I bought it for my mum. She's moving to Brisbane, and then she showed my little brother, and he said, Morty's reading it. So it's a wonderful book to read, and again, it really helped me cut through the noise. And if you're on Twitter, I was over in San Francisco last year for the Lean Startup Conference, like meddling entrepreneurial stuff as well. And there's a guy who spoke about Twitter, and he said that use the block function. And I really reflect on that, because that's really, yes, that makes a lot of sense, how to stop trolls and what have you, but then I had to really reflect on the provider about my own privilege being a fair-skinned male, but I don't experience a lot of the oppression, especially the misogyny and the sexism that exists, that it's not just for some people just on Twitter, it's part of their day-to-day lives, so just blocking there is not going to solve everything, but it will have an impact around that.
Yeah. On the safe spaces and communities, like when I came out of that job that was really challenging to me, I just by coincidence around that time I got invited to a women in games group, international one, which it was so helpful. Like the people there were so supportive, and it was so. Forthcoming, so honest in sharing their experiences, and it really gave me some perspective, and it also gave me like people to connect to, and essentially like it was also a networking tool, because you were talking to other women in the industry that you might not have had access to otherwise. So if as a woman, like I get certain doors closed to me by having these safe spaces and special organizations that deal with this. Like, for example, on the games, I wouldn't have been able to go to GDC without any of these games. So even though certain doors are maybe get closed to me because I'm a woman, I get these other opportunities that I can make use of. And I think that everyone who can, should. And yeah, after like having been a leader for a while and being very active there, I realized I want something like this for Brisbane specifically, and I had to look to see if there was a Brisbane Women Games group, and there was one, and it was kind of inactive. So I spoke to the person running it, and I ended up joining her in running the game in Brisbane. Because yeah, once I was in the position of like having been lifted up by other women, I was like, I want to do this for other women too. And yeah, like you can't do this when you're in a bad position, when you're feeling down yourself, and when you don't have opportunities. But once you've got that, I think it's a really good idea to go up and do this yourself, like set up these communities, help other people.
Some of the themes that have popped up and that we discussed is that whole idea of not guilting yourself when you're not feeling like you can enter these discussions, or being okay. Sometimes when people ask questions, you're expected to be the representation of the whole group as you individually, and forgiving yourself for putting constraints on these conversations and framing them. And also, when you're at the end of your rope and stressed and anxious, allowing yourself to recover without feeling like that's a failure. And I was wondering, like, what are the things that you do for yourself when you need to recover, and how you deal with that?
I play video games and I don't stream them. Or I call friends, I try to get around the house because I know I freelance and do a lot of stuff for myself, so I'm home way too much. And it gets to be unhealthy to the point where my heart is an actually concerned for my well-being. So I try to co-work with a friend and go to her place because it's easier for her since she has to keep kosher to cook and do things. And she has company, I have company. I actually get out of the house. And I just try to do things that are not about games on occasion. I go read books. I go do wonderful things. But I do things that aren't about the work, and if people, I come back and there's like messages asking me about like my opinion on things, I just ignore them. So if anyone's ever emailed me, I'm sorry. Ignoring emails is great for mental health. Just forget it. You know, treat it like Shepard and Ryder did.
Heroes. Like a gaming good kind of
Yeah. I'll tell you after the panel.
I definitely want to talk about guilt and stress relief. About 2 years ago, I put out my first big game, which is Little Witch Story, and it was a huge amount of like personal investment for me, just in terms of like the emotional energy that I put into it, and the idea behind it, which was literally just like I want to tell a story about identity and acceptance and community and family and love and the struggles to find those. It was very reflective of my personal experience. And I made it into mine and I put it out for free because it was just I want people to do this, and they did, and it was very well received, and it went on to receive an award for representation, which is very much not a boast, and I'm going to tell you why now. I went from that to not really knowing what to do with myself. I knew I wanted to do more things like that. I wanted to tell stories that are about acceptance and queerness and family and just finding ways to love yourself. And I actually got an opportunity to sort of rework Little Witch Story into a commercial product that might actually sort of be more successful in my mind than the original piece of like finding a bigger audience and being talked about it and doing some of the concepts that I had for it better. So I actually got I got some funding for that to work on that, and that was probably close to a year ago now. And I was like, oh, this is awesome! Like I have a bunch of the groundwork done. I'll have it done within this sort of period of time, and it'll be great. It'll be like my platform, my like big professional debut. You know, I'm already a little bit of a rising star. Things will be great. And as it turns out, mental health had very, very different ideas for the path that I would take in life. And for the past 6 months especially, but for pretty much the entirety of this year, my mental health has been deteriorating to the point where I spend most days of the week not able to work at all. And I hate myself on those days because I basically, at some point in my life, I simply decided that my work comes from the productivity that I am able to put out, the work that I do. And if I'm not putting out work, if I'm not working on things, then I'm just not worth anything. Which is a very difficult thing to deal with because it's a sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The worse I feel about myself, the harder it is to work, especially when the work is so personal. And so I feel an incredible responsibility to myself and to all of the communities that are important to me to work, because that's what I want to do. And I'm like a firm believer in the power of media to educate and change perception and give people just something that they can resonate with, something that they can see reality, and that's what I want to contribute to. So every moment that I'm not working, I feel awful, and that's a really hard thing to deal with. It's not just guilt of not engaging and educating people online, it's my entire life I feel pressure and responsibility, and it works very, very strongly against me. So finding coping mechanisms to deal with that are awful, because my traditional coping mechanisms are playing games and going for a walk and hanging out with people that I enjoy, and all of those things are not productive, and therefore my brain's like, you can't indulge in this, you haven't written anything today, you garbage human. And like, don't do that nice thing for yourself. Don't treat yourself, you haven't earned it. Just do some goddamn work. and I have to sort of like slowly work on rewiring my brain into being like getting that understanding of like I only have so many resources, and if I waste those resources hating myself, then I definitely can't get work done. If I spend a little bit of resources to do something nice and sort of get back some of that energy, or at least keep myself sort of mentally afloat, I will be more productive in the long term, which is a small step towards training myself that I'm more than just productivity, but you know, one step at a time. So the point that I'm kind of circuitously getting around to is doing good things for yourself is a very productive use of your time that is very, very hard to convince yourself is good to do. So I do try and do things like play games, just lose myself in a game for even like a weekend. I really try and just spend chill time with friends that I just don't do anything, or marathon something on Netflix, or just get out of my head for the most part. And the other thing that I've done, because I am just a person that apparently hates resting, I start other projects, which is to say I start working on things that don't have pressure or responsibility and that I can just drop at any time, which is why I have like very large Google Docs for like role-playing campaigns that I want to run. I run a like serial fiction that just updates once a week that doesn't exist for any purpose other than that I want to just write a little thing every week or write 7 months in advance and then ignore it. The point is that it gives me outlets for my creative energy when my brain's like not in the space to do real work, you know, when I can't work on Little Witch Story and make that like the thing that I need it to be, at least I can do something that makes me feel good. And for whatever reason, creating makes me feel good. So things without pressure, things without like necessarily goals or responsibility are really, really good outlets for me. I'm sorry, that was a very long rant, and I'm occupying a lot of space here, so I'm gonna pass it down the stage. But I have a lot to say about guilt and also self-care on that front.
Can I say, can I just go before you?
Yeah.
So, this 100% resonated with me, and it also reminded me of some advice I got from a mentor in the past, which was like in regards to having other projects that you do just for fun. And piece of advice that I got about doing, like essentially getting out of a rut when I've been working for a long time on something and feeling burnt out and I can't do it anymore. To do tiny projects, like something you can do in an afternoon, like you can like buy a Lego set and build it, you know, like do something that you can do in an afternoon and get that feeling of accomplishment. That is super helpful for recovering. It's like, yeah, you do that creative thing, it's for fun, and then you also get to finish it, and it's not like waiting in the brain for years or months after. Yes, you go. Sorry.
Something that was quite pivotal for me, I started working for myself about 3 years ago, and when I was visiting my psychologist, my anxiety was during the course of the early starting up of my business, which I started because I work, but well, I'm going to have to create work. With my anxiety, because I left 2 jobs, which has been the catalyst for my anxiety, the treatment of those jobs. So it took a while for me to get in control of it, or to understand it. And something that was really pivotal to me was that I'm not my anxiety. Not my depression. And that really helped me understand what the relationship that I have with it. And sometimes it just needed to be, if I had a deadline and I couldn't meet it, I'd get anxious about not meeting it. And then I'd get anxious about it because I hadn't done it. I'd get anxious about that anxiousness. And I was just picturing myself as absolutely not. And he said, you know what, Dameyon, that's okay. But then I started sending emails. I was late, trying to be late on something, and just say, look, I suffer from anxiety, it's going to be a response has been fantastic. That's it. And it's really surprising to me because people write back, my son has anxiety and I totally understand, please take that. So those sorts of things. So understanding it for myself and that it wasn't me, like, I'm not my anxiety, I'm not my depression, but also letting it, sometimes just letting it exist. Yeah, like it may sound odd, but it's like talking to it in a way. I hate the term black dog. I think it's the racial undertones is terrible. Plus, I have a black dog, and he's great. But it's like I was able to talk back to my depression and say, well, no, you're actually not going to control him as well, or take him back to control. Kind of thing. And yes, that's worked for me. It took me a while to get to that place as well. I just came off my meds after 2.5 years of depression. I have Valley on standby, or just I have Valley on standby, but I have some tools now in place that I need. And sometimes that's just spending time on my own. But I've learned to taught myself not to get myself caught up with having too many deadlines at once. Otherwise, I just lose. Yeah, it can be 3 weeks. I've not done anything. Done supposed to be doing.
You know what, one of the biggest things for me has been getting to a place where I can look at depression and anxiety and be like, these are real things that actually get in the way. Because there is so much of like this really potent cultural narrative where depression is just sadness and anxiety is just being a little too worried about stuff, and you feel that just like crushing weight of depression, or you feel that just like seizing of your entire body of anxiety, and you're like, well, this is just some bullshit. I'm weak. Like this shouldn't stop me. I should be able to just say, no, fuck it. I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna do it. That's what everyone else is doing, right? Like everyone gets sad, everyone gets worried, so they're still living life, why aren't I? And there's this weird combo of like, people can't talk about depression and anxiety because there's stigma attached to it. And also, there's just this idea that they're like, people won't take me seriously. If I'm like, sorry, I can't do this thing because I'm anxious as all hell, or sorry, it's a depression day, I'm gonna be in bed all day eating ice cream, people are gonna be like, you lazy fuck, or what's wrong with you? Like, tough up. Fortify, get going. Exactly, and it's been so important to get to the point where if I'm feeling those things, it's like, no, I'm feeling those things because, mostly it's because my brain hates me. There's a whole bunch of, probably chemical imbalances going in there, a whole bunch of the fact that I exist within this awful system called capitalism. But the point is, they are real. And they are things that actively stop me from doing what I want to be doing, and that's not a personal failing on my part. That is a system that I need to learn to navigate, and there are tools that I need to build to help me handle that. There obviously there is medication that can help smooth out those rough edges a little bit, but it's acknowledging it as real, and also talking to other people who are like, yeah, fucking. I have days where I can't talk to a human because my entire body has got premature rigor mortis.
But also there's people that actually do their job. Their job is to actually counsel us and stuff.
Yeah.
So seek them out, and sometimes it can take a couple of visits to different ones to find a good fit. Don't always go to the one and if it's shit and don't go again. Find someone that's going to be a fit for you. It took me a while, but I was so blessed, and I'm in Brier. It took me my 3rd visit to a different psychologist, and I've been seeing him for 2 years. We'd catch up every 3 months anyway for the work I do. But I'm about to leave Brier, and I'm actually going to miss her. We've had some really great conversations. So I really encourage you, if you haven't already sought help in the to talk to someone, do so. But don't be put off if you have a bad experience. Find somebody else.
That's all good things, and that's the time we have. Two of our panelists are running to another panel right after this. But I do hope that you got things out of it. And do we feel like time for questions, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do one.
A couple of questions. We'll take advantage of all the time we have.
Yeah, what's the question?
Well, I just had a more of a statement. Have you ever been to I'm bipolar, and I sent out emails at work to a few people, and I said, I'm going to be a bit wheezy because I'm adjusting medications, and they're really lovely about it. And they, but sadly, also, yeah, you look so normal.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's a
you're not
technical
just,
story, right?
so this is like,
There's always that scary moment when you reach out to someone and you're like, sorry, I'm not gonna do this exactly the way that you expect. Like, I might be in a bad place, or I might be delayed at work or something, and here's the reason why. Please take this seriously, and don't just be like, well, this is bullshit. It's a scary moment when someone's like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, take care of yourself. That's like such a weight off. It's just like, oh, I'm safe. It's okay. I thought they were gonna send a hunting party out, but it's good. I'm good. I can breathe.
In situations where you've been in the workplace and stuff like that, have you ever kind of been open about your mental illness and things like that? Because I'm always kind of afraid about talking about that with coworkers in case it ends up in like a lack of promotion or even if it's not overt reasons, but it's like
Yeah, it's always the fear that the people will use against you.
Well, I actually had a really bad experience with that personally. I've had a lot of good ones too, where people were super accepting and helpful and supportive. But I had one where, I had certain medication, certain antidepressants that were making me sleepy, and a person at work basically a position of power for me when I started going off at work once, and I explained it as because of this medication. But if your medication is making you unfit to work, then don't do your work. And this was just antidepressant.
Yeah, it's some shit.
Yeah, it's so you gotta be careful, but also like if you work in a place and they react like this, leave. Just leave. We're always allowed to leave.
Assuming that's you have the avenues for
Yeah,
that.
this is true. You can't always, I guess, leave, but a lot of the time
Looking
it's stopping you.
for that opportunity to go somewhere better.
Yeah, well, like when I left that job, I actually had nothing lined up. I just was like, this is going to destroy me. I keep going. I need to get out of here now. And like, I had a little bit of savings, and I just kind of did a bit of freelance work until I found my next gig. So, like, sometimes if something is really damaging to you, sometimes it's better to just jump into the unknown in my experience than stick with it.
Yeah, and I had, a similar experience where the source of my mental health issue was my job, who was then not accepting of the fact that I had a mental health issue. And for me, that's what it took to make me go, no, I have done everything that I can here, and they're treating me like shit, and I'm walking out. So using that as a barometer has been helpful, and also at the end of the day, I needed to get out to actually be able to find something else. So I needed that to actually recover, to then be able to jump hunt, to then be able to find something better. And I was guilt tripping myself that I was in a toxic situation and I should find the energy to find something new. But then that's not helpful either. So being kind to yourself is really important.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any better experience. And when Wren was talking to us about, we all were basically gaslit when we had those experiences. I would say it depends because sometimes it's terrifying to leave, but at the end of the day, it's because of your mental health. I actually had to go on anxiety medication because of the job experience I was having. They finally got rid of the toxic talk, but they also came down to everyone he brought in to me. And that was a little concerning because it wasn't something I expected. But at the end of the day, you have to think about what's better. Yes, it's scary to be unemployed. Yes, it's scary to do that, but is it going to eventually lead you to a worse path? So if you have an avenue you can take, or even try something else, go for it because there's only 1 year. And if I'd stayed in that job, I'm going to be here.
The schema that I end up constructing in my head in this type of situation is that instead of looking at the immediate problem and the immediate scary scary leaving. I look at, if I try to build a scenario of what future looks like, which one has happiness at the end? Or potential happiness, or best chance of happiness? And then I act as if that was the only existing path. The other one automatically becomes completely obsolete because I've assessed that it won't lead me to something better. And that makes it easier because I know the road won't be easy. I know it's going to be scary. I know it's going to press pain points or whatever obstacles are going to be in the path. But I've constructed this idea that I trust is the right path because the other one isn't valid. And that empowers me to then go through all of the wrong actions.
Yeah.